Hey everybody, happy day to you. So cool of you to come and spend some time with me today. My name's Erik Hatch with Hatch Coaching and Hatch Realty. Very clever at naming things because I just put my name on it and call it good. In all sincerity, I'm excited to spend the next little while with you talking about showing partners. Before we dive in, there's a couple things that I want to give you some information about. Of course, the showing partner model is one that some people are using and maybe have some questions about and that sort of thing. So please, if you have questions, ask them. If you're watching live right now, ask them, fire it up, and I'll do my best to get to those questions as you have them. The second thing that's important to cover is that we'd love for you to learn more about us. Coachingwithhatch.com is where you'll find it. Again, coachingwithhatch.com. We have this webinar and every other webinar that we've done. And so everything from leadership to ISAs to showing partners and a whole bunch of good stuff in between. So we'd love to spend some time with you showing you that. Let me tell you who I am before we dive totally in. I am coming to you in Fargo, North Dakota, the heart of God's country, and we have a really fantastic thing going here. I have been selling real estate full-time for 6 years and leading a team for 5 of those years. Amidst major failures and successes, we have, I think, a pretty special thing going right now. Last year, we sold 594 homes, making us the number 40 team in the country, according to Real Trends. And we're pacing between 650 and 700 closed transactions this year. Rooted in that, we're doing that with 9 agents in production and 2 expansion partners. And so our numbers are pretty big for the amount of people we have in production. And the showing partner model is one of the ways that we've been successful with that. In addition, Hatch Coaching is a company we started about 1.5 years ago, and we're coaching on all things leadership, all things system, all things ISAs, but we really are helping you and your team members be the best version of yourselves. And so if you have any questions, you want to learn more, again, go to coachingwithhatch.com. But you're on this webinar or you're watching this replay right now because we're talking about showing partners. And I think this showing partner gig is one that is maybe newer to real estate, and a lot of people have questions and curiosities about it. And so I want to walk you through and show you what we've done with our showing partner model to get where we're at now. Where we're at now is we currently have 6, maybe even 7 showing partners. I'm going to have to add up quickly in my head. I think we're rolling with 6 showing partners that are leveraging our buyer agents. In addition, we've actually created a listing partner also to assist and leverage our listing agents. And so I'll show you how we got to this because it's been a 3 or 4 year process to get there. When I started out my team, it was every buyer agent was taking care of buyers. I was doing the listings, and that was what most teams look like when they start. But the question is this, is people will say to me, Erik, if you could do it all over again, what would you do differently? And I honestly think that from step 1, I would hire like this. If it was just me, hire number 1, I would hire an admin. Hire number 2, I would hire another admin. I want somebody taking things off my plate and then somebody helping me to build. I think that those are the 2 pieces that you have when it comes to administrative work. Again, somebody taking something off your plate is your first hire, and then somebody helping you build the next one. Usually marketing and that sort of thing is the second step. Then most people jump to, I want to get like 9 buyer agents because I can make half of the commission and they'll make money as well. And they'll basically take all that stuff off my plate that I don't want to do. Usually that person is undertrained. They're new in the business, and you throw them to the wolves and just hope that they can figure it out. And if they happen to sell a couple houses, well, you get what is some passive income. And it's not really passive because you should be working diligently with that person. Now, if I could do it all over again, I would not hire buyer agents right away. I would, in fact, hire a showing partner and then another showing partner and then maybe even another showing partner. I have a coaching client in Breckenridge, Colorado, and he's able to build this model right now. And here's how I explained it to him. The jerk in Colorado has an average commission of over $20,000. And I say a jerk because I'm here in Fargo, North Dakota, where our average commission is $6,800. So props to him for an average commission of over $20,000 per transaction. I think most of us are envious of that. But he said to me, Erik, who do I hire, right? Well, who's that next hire? Because I have more business than what I can handle right now. I have leads that aren't getting responded to. And by the way, folks, that's that first domino that needs to fall, is your decision making on whether or not to make a hire. Is if you have missed one lead, if there's one lead that you haven't responded to with enough speed or diligence, this is something that you need to start leveraging out. Yes, you could hire an ISA. Yes, you could hire a showing partner. Yes, you could hire a buyer agent, but I think showing partner is actually the best method. So my clients in Colorado hired 2 showing partners, and here's what happened: is he's paying them a base pay, and he's giving them a percentage of the commission. But that percentage is not like a 50% that's usually given. 40 to 60% is usually given to a buyer agent. And he's not paying that. He instead, on an average commission, is giving like 10%. And he's able to retain an extra 40%. So if he's in a traditional buyer agent model, he's keeping 50 and the buyer agent is keeping 50. That's good for him because he's getting 50% of something he didn't have before. But now with the showing, it's a really exciting thing. So let me take all that and tell you now, if I go back to when I started my team, I wish I would have hired admin, and then a couple of showing partners. Those showing partners would essentially be the new kids on the block getting trained up. I hired buyer agents to be the new kids on the block getting trained up, but then my team was practicing on my clients. And that's a really dangerous thing, gang. If you have somebody practicing on your clients, that can be a major detriment. So how do you change that? How do you resolve that if you're in that position where you don't yet have that leverage? My suggestion to you would be you have to have some cash in the bank, because I do think that a showing partner deserves a salary. Let's talk about that, because I think our industry is broken right now. If you want to get into real estate as a buyer agent, here's the proposition that we sell to people. We'd love to have you. And by the way, if you're going to be successful at this game, you need to do it full time. And so you got to get rid of any other side job that you have. You can't do it. You need to be doing this full time in real estate. But by the way, the average home buyer looks at a house for 12 weeks. Well, it's 10 weeks, right? And then it's going to sit in escrow for another 6 to 8 weeks. So if you're lucky enough to get a buyer under contract on day one, the soonest that's going to close is 4 months from now. And that 4-month delay is near impossible for some really talented people to make the leap. They have to either have a great savings account, they have to have a spouse that does well, and that's not a lot of people nowadays, right? In fact, we've had most of our luck finding people in the food and service and food and beverage and service industries. And so if they're coming on board, I don't know many servers who've saved a lot of money. As a former server, I spent it faster than it even came to me. And so we think about this broken model. So herein lies the opportunity. If you're going to be bringing on a showing partner, and if you haven't done so before, I do think you have to plan to pay this person a salary. If it's you and maybe some admin, and then you're bringing on a showing partner, I do think you need to pay them a livable salary. What we're paying our showing partners is what we're paying our entry-level admin. On top of that, they have an opportunity to earn commission in our world. So let me slow down. Let me tell you our process of a 3-year journey of how to get to where we're at now. Because again, we currently have 6 buyer agents, and underneath those 6 buyer agents, we have 6 showing partners. But we have actually 4 different setups on how that looks. But I want you to see and understand we have 6 buyer agents and 6 showing partners. So here it is. Here's the fun. Here's the way in which this game is done. We cast the vision 3 years ago to our buyer agents, and we said, the long-term goal is we want you, Mr. Buyer Agent, let's say Brandon and Emily, our 2 lead buyer agents. We said to Brandon and Emily 3 years ago, the end goal, the end result in all this is we want you to be able to have a leveraged life. And we want you to run a business within our business. And so it's going to be your financial responsibility to pay for this showing partner. Now, this showing partner is something that's a really great value add to your business. And we know that it's going to make you money. At the end of it all, they said yes, but I think they were a little hesitant because most buyer agents aren't making enough money to pay for the income of somebody else. And so we had to prove the model. We went through 4 steps, and I encourage you to write these down. Step number 1 is the rent a partner model. What we did as a company is we said, we see where this is going, and we want the financial responsibility to first fall on the company. And so we were paying, again, that entry-level admin salary to our showing partners, and we had 2 of them. They had 3 tasks, 3 responsibilities in this order, and this still remains the same today. Step number 1 is they are to assist the buyer agent. If there's a showing, if there's an inspection, if there's a final walkthrough, whatever it may be, their main task and responsibility is to leverage their buyer agent. Step number 2, the second thing, the second task, the second responsibility that these showing partners have is to train. It's not to lead generate, which is surprising to a lot of people. We said that training is imperative. We end up paying these showing partners to train. These are our future income earners for the company. And today we have to put an emphasis on training. We can't not emphasize that enough. That's one of the reasons why we're doing the showing partner model in the first place, is because we're such believers that we have to put our money where our mouth is, and we have to say that this person deserves to be better trained than the 60 or 90-hour class that they had to take just to get their real estate license. Okay. Number 3, the third thing that they should be doing is lead generating. That could be calling old leads, that could be doing some ISA work in terms of calling for sale by owners and expireds and old leads. It could be working their own sphere. We've had our folks out door knocking, we've had them cold calling, whatever it is to do for lead generation. Each of you has a different setup. So now that we know the 3 steps with that, let me go back to where we were at. We said that the first model is the rent a partner model. So we hired 2 showing partners, and they were employees of the company. We paid for their salary, and if somebody wanted to use them, let's say Brandon needed to have an inspection covered, he did rent a partner. These hours were kept track of by the showing partner, and then Brandon was billed those hours each month by the company. Even though the person was making less than $20 an hour in what they were hired for with the company, Brandon could rent a partner, who is a licensed agent, by the way. All showing partners are licensed agents. He could rent a partner for $20 an hour, minimum of 1 hour. Even if it's one showing or something that takes 20 or 30 minutes, the minimum pay is 1 hour. And so if you read between the lines, we're forcing Brandon and the other buyer agents into this situation right now that says you need to use this person more than just for one showing. Use them, rely on them, leverage them, and get your hours worth. Most inspections in our area last about 2 hours. And so Brandon would make the conscious choice, and Emily would make the conscious choice to say, I'm willing to pay $40 to have 2 hours back in my life, and I can go and leverage this. Now let's talk simply about this, right? Leveraged money is important to monitor. If you yourself as a buyer agent make $50,000 a year, but it costs you $20 an hour to hire somebody to do a job that you would be doing, that's cash positive, because you're making $25 an hour and you're paying $20 an hour. So really on that inspection, you made $5 extra an hour. So this all was about leverage, and it was all about doing it that right way. So the first thing that happened is nobody used the showing partners. In phase 1 and step 1 in rent a partner, nobody used the showing partners in the slow season. Then they started using them for inspections, which were like the lowest hanging fruit that nobody wanted to do. Then, because we had a robust business, the demand started to show up. And Emily would say, man, I need to use this showing partner for a couple of hours. I can't get all these showings done today. Or everybody seems to want to have their showings at 5:30. And I need to leverage and I need to use that. And so the showing partner started to get used a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more. We had proven the model, but as we had proven the model, we knew that there was a lot of ways to go, because we couldn't just say after this $20 an hour rent a partner, now Brandon and Emily, it's your financial responsibility to take on all this. We weren't there yet. So we moved to phase 2. Phase 2 was share a partner. So now, and we had more than 2 buyer agents, but I'm going to continue to use Brandon and Emily as the examples. Phase 2 looks like this. it's share a partner where Brandon and Emily both are taking on half of the salary. If the salary, let me use even numbers, if the salary for the showing partner is $30,000 in a year, half of that salary, that $15,000, was now being paid by Brandon and Emily. That means that each of them contractually were agreeing to pay $7,500 each. 75 plus 75 is $1,500, and the company was paying the other $15,000, as well as payroll taxes and covering the desk fees and everything else that was there. So again, we're proving the model, and we're allowing them to now have more control. They don't have to track hours, and they can essentially use this showing partner whenever they need. They were ready to commit really about $600 a month to have that kind of leverage, right? $600 times 12 months is $7,200, and that gets us really close. So at $600 a month, people were able to jump on board with that as a buyer agent, excuse me. When they figured that part out, now the demand came in. Brandon and Emily loved having the showing partner and said, hey, I'm paying $600 a month for this person, so I'm going to do everything within my power to use this person as much as possible. They were introducing them to the clients in the beginning. They became a part of the process, and this wasn't somebody that was just a hired hand. It was becoming an actual partner, a literal partner for them. With that literal partnership, an amazing thing started happening. The clients were getting in relation with the showing partner the same way they were with the buyer agent, and in fact, sometimes more so. We explain to our clients the showing partner model like this is, if I'm Brandon, I'm going to introduce my showing partners by saying, these are essentially the nurses to me being the doctor. They're going to be the ones to walk with you and to open up the doors and to respond to your immediate needs. And I'm here to do the heavier lifting with navigating, negotiating, and making sure that we always are studying the x-rays, doing surgery properly, and making sure that you are well taken care of through this process. By the way, speed matters, and you want this showing partner to act quickly on your behalf. Most of us right now are in seller markets, excuse me, and so speed certainly matters, and the leverage of a showing partner provides just that. So that was step number 2. Remember, step number 1 was rent a partner. Step number 2 was share a partner. Step number 3, Brandon and Emily, as you can see, what's probably going to happen here is that Brandon is going to get frustrated that the person he's paying for is being used by Emily. And Emily's frustrated that the person that she's paying for is being used by Brandon. And so phase 2 didn't last very long. And soon they were willing to say, I will pay for half of this person's salary myself if I can get all their time. And so there was step number 3. Step number 3 was half of the salary falls on the buyer agent and half of the salary falls on the company. Let's use this example. I told you that the average commission in Fargo, North Dakota is roughly $6,800. Let's round up to 7,000 because math is easier with round numbers. Now, if I'm in my head as a buyer agent, if I make 50% of commission on a deal, I know I'm making $3,500. How many extra deals can I do with a showing partner? Instead of the company bringing on and hiring 5 more buyer agents, what if we kept the buyer agents the same and we didn't hire anybody else? Instead, we hired leverage for us. Now, at $3,500 a deal, that agent is only going to have to do maybe 8 to 10 more deals in order to justify paying for this partner. And that's just the dollars and cents. That doesn't even include the time back in your life. Because I do think this, my friends, that wealth is an abundance of time, resources, which include money, and of course, ingrainment in the right culture. And so we find ourselves in phase number 3. And number 3, Brandon has his own showing partner, and he's paying half the salary, and the company is paying half the salary. It took us 2 years to get to this point. So phases 1 and 2 took two years. Now, phase 3, we told them and told our buyer agents this was only going to last for a year because we believe we're going to prove the model. And when we do, this person will become your full financial responsibility. And so sure enough, we watched our agents' numbers skyrocket. I'll use Brandon as an example. In his 3rd year of being a realtor, Brandon sold over 90 houses last year. And do the math, right? When you figure what our average sales price is or what our average commission is, and he sold 90 houses And on top of that, he only had to pay for $15,000 roughly of a showing partner and not pay that much money. That really, really, really starts to click, right? So Brandon now said, hey, I want a showing partner. In fact, I want 2 showing partners because I believe in getting my time back and leveraging my wealth. Now, that's phase 4. Phase 4 is the partner is all yours, and we have created teams within teams. There's the trick and there's the secret is we've now put management and leadership on Brandon and Emily. That's no longer the company's responsibility. The full salary is paid for by Brandon and Emily. It's not paid for by the company. Yes, we're still paying for we're still paying for payroll taxes, and we're still providing office space, but we're building some really, really great opportunities for people. And that's where we find ourselves now. And we have 6 buyer agents and 6 showing partners because of this. Now, here's the secret in the sauce, and it's not just about the amount of money that the buyer agent can make. Let's say tomorrow Brandon leaves, right? He's gone. He's no longer here. That would be really tough on a business to have your top producer on the buy side gone. But guess what? Brandon has 2 showing partners that know his clients, that have been our bench players for anything from 12 to 24 months, that know our systems, that are fully trained for all of our role playing. They understand our CRM. If Brandon is gone tomorrow, we've built a bench. And this bench is a well-trained bench. This bench is ready to get into production, and this bench is ready to save our butts. Folks, I have 6 bench players right now, and I will never have another agent on my team. And it hasn't happened before, but I hear stories from friends all the time. Like, this person who's my top producer is threatening to leave if I don't change X, Y, or Z, or they're driving and doing whatever. Like, that's just a gross place that I don't ever want to live. And so when you get the opportunity to build a bench, you're developing talent. You're giving them the opportunity to learn as they earn. In addition to that, they're essentially doing some lead generation and helping to bring in more business. I told you in the beginning that we are going to do between 650 and 700 transactions this year, and that's in our 5th year of being a team, so we're pretty excited about that. But the asinine thing is that half of our business, literally 50% of our business, are sphere, referral, and past clients, right? These are people that are sphere, referral, and past clients who already know us. And that's because all these extra people who are lead generators, these showing partners and these buyer agents, those folks are the ones that really, those folks are a big deal, right? They're helping us produce. We have a couple questions, and so here we go. Jake Johnston asked the question, who covers the 10% commission paid to the showing partner? In the example I shared with you, my client out in Colorado, my coaching client, he is doing something awesome right now, and he's, of course, paying that 10%. He's the rainmaker, he's the buyer agent, the listing agent, everything else, so he's paying that 10%. In our world right now, our showing partners do not get a percent for every transaction that they touch. They only get a percent of the transaction, and that's 15% if they bring in that deal from their sphere, right? So if they're bringing a buyer that they met at an open house, or it's a buddy of theirs or their aunt or whomever it may be, that 15% is paid for by the buyer agent. Again, not an expense to the company. So let's take a look at this, right? Let's say we have 100% commission. The company will always get their 50%. If you're on a 50-50 split or 60-40, the company should always get that cut. Similar to the ISA model for us, the company will always get their 50%. Then if Brandon and his showing partner Ryan are in this deal, Brandon's going to get 35% and Ryan's going to get 15% if that person comes from Ryan's sphere, from Ryan's efforts. If that person doesn't come from Ryan's efforts, if he's just leveraging Brandon out in this situation, then Brandon still gets the 50% and then he pays the salary of Ryan. Jake, I hope that answered that question for you. Nathan Flanagan asking the question, can I repeat the script for the showing partner when talking to a client? It goes like this. By the way, we do all our consults in our office. We make sure that we're doing consults in office, in person, face-to-face, and we're getting people under contract before we ever show them a house. And so when we do that, if I'm Brandon in this situation, it looks like this. I want Ryan, the showing partner, in that consult if possible. But traditionally, Ryan's out doing showings for other clients. And so instead, we're making sure that we're sending all this information ahead of time. And we're always talking about we instead of me. In that consult, if I'm Brandon, I would say this. I would say, Nathan, we're really excited to be working with you, but here's what we know. Have you heard any horror stories lately from friends about them taking a look at houses and by the time they want to pull the trigger, that house is sold? And you, of course, would say, yes, we're very much in a crazy market right now, or that's what I've heard from my coworkers. And Nathan, would you be frustrated if the house you wanted to see, I couldn't get you into that house until tomorrow when I had availability in my schedule? And your response would be, yeah, man, that would really be frustrating. Then, of course, we would say, well, here's the great thing is that when you're hiring me, you're not just getting me, but you're also getting my entire team of people. And so Ryan, our showing partner, I want you to think of it like a doctor-nurse relationship. I'll be serving as the doctor where you might not always be consulting with me, although I'm always consulting with Ryan, who's the nurse in this situation. Ryan is there for triage. Ryan is there to make sure that you are well taken care of. He's going to open every door. He's going to do major follow through. And guess what? Ryan is faster than I am. Ryan sees more houses than I do. Ryan's always going to be looking for these deals. Now, myself as the buyer agent, it's my job on the flip side to go after every last opportunity I can for you. And that means navigating, negotiating, and getting you the best deal possible. So I'm going to be the one in surgery, and we're going to have Ryan be the one in triage. So when you introduce it like that and you make it seem, Nathan, that it's their idea, that they want somebody who can help them get into more houses, that they want that extra leverage, that they need speed, and that this is a value add for them, we have never had any kickback on it. It's the same way that us rainmakers pass off deals to our buyer agents and listing agents, right? Is we talk about the people that we're handing off as more talented, more capable, and better than us. And it's the same thing. Ryan as a showing partner is better than I am as a buyer agent. He's going to be there and he has great speed, great flexibility, and knows this market more than I do. I'm the one who's going to be fighting for your deal, and I'm the one who is going to make sure that we protect you in those corners. But for the day-to-day, Ryan's your guy. Hope that helps. Finally, Jared Chamberlain, my man Jared up in Canada. Good to see you, buddy. He says this: how long do you set the expectations for the showing agent that they will do this prior to being a full agent? Also, what do you say up front for what they could be making? I'm going to start with the latter and go to the former. We promise the salary from moment one. And the salary is, for a lot of people, that bridge that they need to get into this game and into production. Once they're into production, we tell them, it depends on how much you bring in. Each company has a different standard. Our standard used to be 10 deals per year in their first year that a showing partner needs to bring in, and 12 deals thereafter. But we were saying it wrong, guys. It's not about the number of deals they bring in, because for me, if a showing partner brings in 0 deals, but they buy back 20 hours a week for me, that's worth the investment of the salary. I think the bonus on top of that are the deals. That's really where the cash is made. But if you're going to make 10 or 15% per transaction, they're going to make their base pay, and then they're going to make however much they can bring in on their own. We see that the first year, showing partners bringing in probably 5 or 6 deals from their sphere, and their second year they should hit about a dozen, which is a great value add to the company, a great value add to the buyer agent. But that, depending on your commission, that showing partner could be making a lot more. But your first question is the big one, Jared. Again, how long do we set the expectations for the showing agent that they will do this before they get to graduate to become a buyer agent? Now, I don't believe that an ISA should graduate. Now, we're talking about showing partners, but I want to draw this line in the sand. I don't believe that a buyer agent should, or that an ISA should graduate, because that role takes months and months and months and years of contacting and working with the same people for that person really to make their wealth. As an example, one of our ISAs, Pete, helped with 39 deals in his first year. In his second year, he's helping with well over 100 deals. And next year, I assume he will do about 200 deals that he'll help touch. Because the ISA role, you don't want somebody picking up and leaving. Do not graduate people from the ISA role if you can help it. With the showing partner role, we say there are 3 things that will qualify you for graduation. The first qualification piece is you have to do in your first year at least 10 transactions from your sphere. That's business that we'll use Ryan as the example again. If Ryan wants to be considered for graduation, number 1 is at least 10 deals from his sphere his first year or 12 his second. The reason why we say in that first year that you need 10 is because we give people 2 months of ramp up time. 10 the first year, 12 the second. So if you're doing that, you're forcing me to consider you for graduation. The second way is Brandon leaves, right? An agent leaves our company and we have to get the next man up. And so if a producing agent leaves the company, we have our bench players now, and so that will bring them up. The third way is that you as a showing partner are so fantastic that we can't keep you in that role any further. And that comes traditionally when we have enough business for them. Right now in our world, we're at an interesting place. We are overstaffed on the buyer agent side, and we are overstaffed on the showing partner side just a little bit. I want to give graduation opportunities to all our showing partners because they're really good. And we've had a couple who are in their second year now who aren't going to hit that benchmark of 12, but they're close, right? I want to graduate them up. They deserve in a lot of ways to be graduated up, but they haven't met that entry-level place of 12 in their second year. And so we can't just force it up, and that is unless we had enough business. Now, we're of a belief that we do have enough business for next year with what we have in the hopper, right? We have some really talented ISAs that are helping, and we think that next year we're going to push to 1,000 transactions or very close to it. And so we need more agents in production. And so I believe that next year we're expecting to graduate, and who knows when, but we're expecting to graduate 2 of our showing partners. And it's because they've met the minimum of graduation, and that is 10 their first year or 12 their second. So they've met that minimum. We haven't had anybody leave, so that one doesn't qualify. But the third qualifying piece is that we essentially think that this person is going to help grow our business, and we can't keep them there anymore. They're so good and so fantastic that they've earned their spot. So Jared, I think that some of the most valuable people that we have are our showing agents that are going to be in their role for the 3rd year now. We have a couple that are really, well, all of them are exceptional, but we have a couple that'll be going into their 3rd year. And I'll be honest, I think that that's probably the most valuable addition to our company. Not somebody who's jumping in and is going to produce and help us close X number of more deals, but instead leveraging the buyer agents that we currently have. So here's that leverage piece. That buyer agent is now going to sell X amount more, and we don't have to manage that showing partner. We don't have to lead that showing partner because we have built-in leadership there. I would take a really good showing partner over a super talented buyer agent most of the days of the week. Simply because we're delivering better service to our clients, we're leveraging our top people, and we're building our bench. It's proven for us to be really great. I want questions to keep coming in. So folks, if you are doing so, please fire some questions our way. I want to talk on the flip side of this. We talked about showing partners, and please, if you have more questions, let me know on showing partners, but I want to tell you about what we're doing with listing partners. And we've stayed quiet on this because we haven't figured it out yet. And yet I think we're moving in the right direction. At Hatch Realty, we have it set that if you are going to list your house with us, the listing agent doesn't go to the house. The listing agent instead, they are looking at CMAs, they're diving in, they're studying all these things, and then they're looking at it like an X-ray. But they don't go to the house, and instead they'll sit in the office, and we'll do our listing appointments in office. Makes sense, right? But we've added this listing partner role now, which is a licensed agent, and like the showing partner, on the flip side of it is the listing partner. It looks like this. The appointment's set by the ISA or whomever in our company, and then our listing partner is the one that goes out to the house. We're taking that extra step, and we're going to the house, to establish rapport, to actually take pictures. And I don't need to see a house usually to price it, right? I can tell you that the comparables in the neighborhood, the past MLS listing in most of these situations, and the description that they give me will give me 98% of the information I need to know. You ask questions like, does your house smell like cats or cigarettes or anything like that? And you know that'll affect all this, right? But we're getting out there and we're going the extra step for our clients. And that extra step on the listing side is an important one, because now we're seeing our conversion rate really increase. By the time that listing appointment happens in our office, let's say that Mark, our lead listing agent, is the one to handle it, and Sarah is our listing partner. Sarah's already gone out to the house, she's established rapport, she's taken pictures, and she's done some CMA work. Mark is more apt to price the property correctly. We've gone and we've had, if somebody has not only had us in their house, but now they're coming to our office, we have them. Our conversion rates are up through the roof. And we're, again, building it the same way we built our showing partner model. And that is, first, we skipped the rent-a-partner model. That wasn't going to work in this. And instead, the salaries are being paid for. We have, with our 3 listing agents, those 3 are sharing the salary of half of the salary of our listing partner, excuse me. The company's paying this half, and then our 3 agents are paying the other half. This person, again, is now our newest listing agent when we're ready for her to enter into production. And she's helping all of our listing agents today make more money. So this leverage piece does work on both sides, and it is a really good one. But please don't speed through it. Don't have anybody graduate too fast. Have clear requirements for graduation, and I think you'll be sitting well. Randa asked the questions, have I ever had a buyer's agent want to become a showing partner? Great question, Randa. I haven't personally, but I have a coaching client down in San Antonio, and that was just the case that happened. The person didn't want to live a full commission life, and instead they liked the idea of a paycheck, and they liked the idea of not all the stress and pressure that comes from being a buyer agent. Buyer agents, you deal with a lot of grief and a lot of tough nights, a lot of negotiations, and sometimes people just aren't built for that. The folks that love people, love houses, but have pretty thin skin, being a showing partner is okay. So, Randa, it hasn't happened in our world where somebody has wanted to move to a showing partner, but I do know it to happen, and it's been a healthy move for that person. Nathan back with another question, and it is a solid one. What disc profile do we look for a showing partner and a buyer agent? I would say this, that the leading factor for either of them is a high I. I love somebody with a high I. It means you're social. It means that you are influential. You get energy from being with people. And I think that a buyer agent or a listing partner a buyer agent or a showing partner do the best with a high I. Now, if you understand the disc profile, I want you to see this. It goes D, I, S, C. Again, D, I, S, C. And as you take a look at that, the I right here is always going to partner either with the D or with the S. The enemy of it is what's kitty corner, and that is the C. You'll rarely have somebody who is an IC or a CI. Like, tell me, who do you know that's like a really social accountant, right? C is analytical and really great with detail. I is loving to be around things socially, and that's a big deal. So we understand that with this I, you're dealing with people who are either going to be a D or an S. Now, if they're an SI or an IS, or if they're a DI or an ID, I think it works in any of those fashions. But I would say that on the buyer side, you want somebody to have a really prevalent I. On the listing side, I think you need to have somebody who's a prevalent D, somebody who's dominant, somebody who can deal with some tough conversations, because there are some very tough conversations in it. Then, of course, with that D, it's going to be accompanied with the I or with the C here. So that's the listing partner. Admin, SC, CS, I think that's where it fits best for admin. And then for ISAs, hear this very clearly, I think it should be a CD or a DC. The I and the S can be dangerous for ISAs. Nathan, finally, you said this. How many deals per month does your buyer agent have to do prior to the partner being able to support a partner? Depends on your commission structure, right? My client out in Colorado, my coaching client, with an average commission of over $20,000, it doesn't take many deals to justify, say, a $40,000 a year salary. Here in Fargo, North Dakota, it would take a lot of deals to justify that. I would say this, though, Nathan, is I think that in a market like Fargo's, 36 deals or so for the year for a buyer agent, anything beyond that, and they're going to start looking for leverage. And yet, here's the pain point that I see for people, is after 24 deals, if you don't have the right world, a lot of times buyer agents will pick up and leave. Now, all of my buyer agents are going to sell between 40 and 100 homes each this year. And they haven't left. In fact, we have between an 80 and 90% retention rate with really high producing people. And they're not leaving not because of the splits, but they're not leaving because of the world that we have and the way in which we treat them, that we let them build their own businesses. Folks, don't be afraid of letting your team build a business here. It's a really important one. Giving them a runway and allowing them to have autonomy within your business and helping them to be intrapreneurs is really important in this. I hope you hear that clearly, that we can ask the questions about deals and numbers. Just do the math, okay? It depends on the splits you're paying and everything else. But in our world, we know that a showing partner needs to help bring in and help close an extra 10 deals in a year in order to justify their salary, 10 or 12, depending on the sales price, right? And so if Brandon was closing 50 deals and with a showing partner can close 70 deals, he knows he's cash positive. And we find that a showing partner in our world has increased the number of transactions probably by 30 to 50%. Our agents that were doing 45 deals last year are doing 65 deals this year. It's pretty fun to see. And I can't recommend it enough. Sonny asked the question, and Sonny, good to have you on here, asked the question, if a showing partner brings their own business, how are they paid? That is a really good question. They are paid from if they're giving a referral to the listing side, we treat it as an outside referral. They're going to get 25% of the transaction, just like we would if a buyer agent is giving a referral to the listing side. Now, some of you may be going, oh my gosh, that's a lot. And we are overly generous in our company. And we have to talk about the foundation of that. I would rather pay people as much as possible opposed to as little as possible. Because when I choose to pay as much as possible, my team knows I'm doing everything I can to help them out. I just need to have enough people who are great talent helping me to make some money and helping them to make some money so we can all have ours. So if a showing partner brings their own business on the buy side, their commission is paid from their buyer agent. On the list side, that's coming from the company. Hope that makes sense for you. Tiffany, I want to jump back to your question. Tiffany Locknett, good to have you on here, Tiffany. You asked this, what is a typical schedule for a showing partner? Do they have designated days off? Who does a showing partner report to in phase 1 or 2? Let's start with the latter. In phase 1 or 2, remember that's rent a partner and share a partner. They're reporting back to the company, to the lead sales manager, productivity coach, whomever it is that oversees the buyer agents and the showing partners. That's who they report to. In phases 3 and 4, they're reporting to their buyer agent, and the buyer agent is reporting to the sales manager, or productivity coach, or lead buyer agent. And so we're just adding another layer of management and leadership in our company. Designated days off, we require all of our agents to take at least 1 day off a week, whether you're a buyer agent or a showing partner. Now, in busy season, really tough to do. And yet we always want to keep that as a standard. As we say, take off as many days as you want, but for sure take off at least one and make sure that somebody knows so they can cover for you. Finally, a typical schedule looks like this. Remember, their first responsibility is to leverage their buyer agent. And so if anything for that leveraging comes in, they know that that's their priority one. Let's say there's no leverage responsibilities for the morning. And so they're going to show up and they're going to do role play at the office from 8:30 to 9:15. And then they're going to do lead generation from 9:15 to 10:45. They'll then participate in our daily huddle from 10:45 until 11. And at 11:01, they will be going on showings. They'll be helping out. They'll be doing lead generation, working in the CRM, but making sure that they're getting their contacts in for the day and following up. Of course, they're showing nights, they're showing weekends, and every time that they have a showing that goes positive or negative, they update the CRM, and they also clue in their buyer agent. But the buyer agent is watching the CRM, right? But when there's a call to action, they will be calling on that buyer agent so that they can make an offer or get in deeper right away. Tiffany, hope that helped. Jared, back to another question. I appreciate it very much. How many hours are the showing partners broken down per week per role? And do they only work 40 hours per week? Our showing partners in busy season are probably working 50 or 60 hours a week. And if they are in slower season, probably 40 hours a week. It's really difficult to break down and say, well, 20 hours a week is assisting the agent and this many is training. We, of course, have our set training, our set role playing that we do within the office. We also have a trainer that's diving in with them, helping with some accountability sessions and that sort of thing. And they know that whenever they're not doing either of those, they're lead genning. But there's a lot of paperwork involved with all the things we do and a lot of time in the CRM. So I don't know if I can give you a specific breakdown. I just know that in the busy season, they should be showing more than they should be lead genning, which can be difficult because it's the buyer agent's job to do the lead genning. You should have the higher conversion rate, and that should be helpful. Randa asked the question, do our buyer agents do open houses or only showing partners? All of our agents are contracted with us and encouraged to do a minimum of 4 open houses per month. Our open houses in our area only run on Sundays, and there's 2 shifts. It's 1 to 2:30 and 3 to 4:30. And so 2 weekends a month, agents and buyer agents, listing agents, and showing partners, they all need to be doing a minimum of 4 shifts a month. Parade of home seasons and other things can come in. We do some deals on like Thursday nights as well, but for the most part, everybody is doing a large amount of these. Jake asking for me to repeat the stats on how many extra deals you should expect when we add a showing partner. I'm going to say anything from 30 to 50%. I think I said 40 to 50%, but I'll go softer on that. I'll say 30 to 50%. But that, of course, comes with an asterisk on it, Jake. If somebody takes that extra time that they buy back, if you as a buyer agent now get 20 hours back into your life, but you don't turn that into extra lead gen time, that person's not going to make you more money. In fact, they're going to cost you money and make you time. But if you're taking that 20 hours a week that they're buying back for that leverage time of all those showings that you would be doing, and you're turning that into lead gen time, man, it is astronomical how much more you can make. I think Brandon is maybe the best example of this. 2 years, Brandon's first year in production, his first year as a buyer agent with no showing partners, he did 50 deals. His second year with a rent a partner, he did 65 deals. Then with half a partner, so he was paying half the salary, Brandon did mid 70s, I believe. And then last year with a full showing partner in his staff, he did over 90 deals. This year we expect Brandon to be well over 100 deals with 2 showing partners. But he's also, maybe he's not making as much money per deal because he's paying the salary of 2 people, but he's bought back some serious time into his life and his marriage. And we don't talk about that enough, right? That's a really, really big deal. Hope that helps, Jake. From Christy Huff asks, how do you move a buyer agent to phase 2? I think you mean, if you're saying showing partner, I know how to answer that. Or buyer agent or showing partner, we essentially allow a full year to go by with the rent a partner model, or a full year to go by with a share a partner model. For us in North Dakota, things are very, very seasonal here. We deal with high highs and low lows, not only in our temperatures, but also in our real estate market. And so you have to play the seasonality game. You can't ask a buyer agent in January in Fargo, North Dakota to start paying for the salary of someone when they don't start really making money until April and May. So you have to time it out. You have to make sure that you're getting all that figured out so that you're not leaving your agent saying, how do I pay for this? The best time to propose it to your agents, though, I know this for certain, the best time to propose it to your agents is when they are running like a chicken with their head cut off, that they have more money coming in than they're used to, and that they're wishing that they had more time back in their life. Talking to them about it in January when they are wondering, how am I going to pay my mortgage, and why in the world am I in a full-time commission job, is really tough to do. Same for me, same for them. So there it is, Christy. Hope that helps. Folks, I'm almost out of time. I do want to wrap up with a couple of thoughts. First of all, thanks for all the questions. That's a huge deal. I believe that the future of real estate is a team that is leveraged. If you're going to make it in this business, in this industry, speed and service are the two things that matter most. And in fact, I will put service ahead of speed. If you want to have a big business and to have people in your lives with big businesses, the only way I know how is service first. And if we think that literally we can wear all the hats of what a realtor is supposed to do, from ISA and showing partner and buyer agent and listing agent and admin and transaction coordinator and everything in between, if you can honestly provide exemplary service in all those categories, please ignore this last 50 minutes that you've listened to. But if you need to start leveraging that out for the sake of your clients, that they deserve something better, you have to believe that well-leveraged teams are the future of this industry. I think it's only those of us with egos that say that I don't trust other people with my clients, or I don't trust my clients with other people. And it's a dangerous way of thinking. Something is going to get dropped, because I did that for a while, guys, and I thought that I was the most important guy in the world for everyone. And turns out that our clients have gotten much better service now that I've gotten the heck out of the way. Now, the second is speed. And if on this buy side, if you're in a seller's market, you know that you have to get to the house quick, you have to get to the house fast, and you have to get to a lot of houses. Again, all those things matter, and leveraging these people for your clients really matters. So service and speed are the way in which this business is progressing. It's already here. And if you want to have a really successful business, these are the things to do. If you want to be a realtor that occasionally sells houses, you can ignore this. And yet, if you want a business that has money, that makes money for you, and that leverages well, and that gives you time and wealth, and you're better for your family and everything else, this is the only way I know how. We're on our way up, and thank goodness we figured out this leverage piece, because I get to be home with my kids and family every day, and it is such an incredible gift. Do me a favor, go to coachingwithhatch.com. You can watch all our webinar replays. If we can help you in any sort of way, if you're interested in learning more about what we're doing, coachingwithhatch.com is how you connect with us. And if there's anything we can ever do to be a blessing in your life, we want to hear that. On behalf of everybody at Hatch Coaching and Hatch Realty, have a glorious and fabulous day, my friends.